Chapel and friends of the chapel. It is indeed a good day to be together, to be reminded of whose we are, and to have this unique opportunity to be connected and to be reminded that God calls us together because we are God's people, so that we can worship together and be strengthened together. So we're learning still how to do worship online. Amen? And so what we want to encourage you to do is to let us know that you're with us, and like and share with your friends, so that more folks can be worshiping with us this morning. Your liking and sharing is the way that we know that you're with us, and we already know that a lot of you are, because you showed up to church early, as we might say. We've been together now in this way for a number of weeks, and several weeks ago we talked about the importance of holding on and hoping during this particular season. And so one of the things that I've been thinking about this week is how you are holding on to each other, and how I'm hoping and praying that you are continuing to trust and be hopeful in this season. My prayer every day is that you are holding tenderly on to one another, for those that you live with. And maybe you've had a particularly difficult week this past week, and there's good news there too, because God gives us the gift of worship, so that when we especially have had a hard week, that worship gives us the opportunity to come together and reset or recalibrate, and to draw strength and sustenance, so that we have the strength that we need to keep on keeping on. So worship is one of those unique opportunities I like to talk about it as a way to refuel our mind and our body and our spirit, to be refreshed, so that, yes, we have the strength we need for the days ahead. Good news, you're in for a treat this morning, because long before the COVID-19 virus raised up, our students at Walker Chapel have been planning to offer today a message based on their missional priorities of environmental justice. At Walker Chapel today, we are celebrating the earth. It is Earth Day here, and it is also Native American Ministries Sunday. So as we are together this morning, we're going to be thinking about ways that God might be inviting us to behave, if you will, in a more environmentally just way. We're fortunate at the chapel that Sandra Kamen, our Director of Spiritual Practices, is leading our students, along with Meg Auger, one of our parents. And we're going to be hearing from the students, so look forward to that as we direct our worship energies around our land, the gift of our earth. At the end of our time together today, we're all going to have the opportunity to stretch and sing one of our Native American hymns called "The Earth is Our Mother." And within the body of the chapel note this week, you will also have the opportunity, and hopefully some of you already have, to listen to a powerful, powerful message by one of my colleagues, Larry Gent, who is also Native American. I hope you'll take a listen to that message. It's a great opportunity to parents to take your children and have some snuggle time and listen to Larry Gent's message, because it offers up a really important subject about caring for one another, and I think could prompt some really important conversation in your home. So I hope you'll take a listen to Larry Gent's message. If you haven't signed up for the chapel notes, if you'll let us know that, Derek is with us this morning, and he'll be happy to make sure that you get on the email list and receive the chapel note. At the end of our song that we'll sing together this morning is the chant, Aho, Aho. And And what that means is we are together. We are one. And so what we are hoping and praying is that the conversation that we have today will indeed inform our thoughts and influence how God is leading us in these strange and challenging times to be stewards of the earth, God's gift to us. Now, as we prepare our hearts and our minds for the gift of worship, it's my joy to introduce Leah and Dwayne Musser, who will offer our call to worship.
This is the call to worship for Sunday, April 26th, 2020, a celebration of Earth Day.
The heavens are telling the glory of the Lord, and the firmament proclaims his handiwork.
All around us are signs and wonders, fingerprints of the Creator. Praise be to God.
The earth is the Lord's and all that is in it, the world and all who live in it.
All around us we find life. All the created world is related to us. Praise be to God.
Come, let us dwell in God's work of art. Here in this wondrous world we are not alone. We share this life with the heavens and the earth.
With the waters and the land, with trees and grasses, with fish, birds and animals, with minerals and creatures of every form, and with all our brothers and sisters. Praise be to God.
God is good, and everything God makes is good.
Praise to the Creator of all that is, seen and unseen. Amen.
All creatures of our God and King, lift up your voice and with us sing. Oh, praise ye
trusting Jubilee is here. I'm guessing Catherine and Ellie and Jacob have already gone to Sunday school and are with us as well. And I also understand that both of your grandmothers are tuning in this morning. Isn't that a wonderful way for grandmothers to get to see their grandchildren? So that's all exciting as well. This is your time. So if you have something on your mind and in your heart that you want to share, and you want to ask one of your parents to let us know, then type it in and we'll share in that unique way, boys and girls. Let me know what you're thinking about, because we all belong to God, and God gives us each other so that we can share what's on our heart and in our mind, what we're thinking about, wondering about, praying about, what we're joyful about. Anybody have anything this morning? Some days are quiet days. Jacob says he misses coming to Walker Chapel preschool and seeing his friends. Jacob, I miss all of those things too. And one of the good things about having each other to share that with is that it somehow makes it a little easier whenever we can at least say what we're feeling, because feelings are a really important part of us. So thank you for sharing that, and we'll keep praying mightily that as we hope and as our land heals, that we'll be back together again before too long. Anybody else? Zoe went on a walk to her grandmother's yesterday. Walking is a very, very good and important thing to do right now. So I hope you're walking lots. I love you, Zoe, even though we're miles and miles away. I love you very much. So, boys and girls, today is Earth Day at Walker Chapel, and we are talking about the good news and the truth that the earth belongs to God, and that God has given us our land, the entire earth, so that we might take very careful care of the earth that we have. In fact, one way to talk about it is our job is to be careful with our earth and to tend it very, very well, because not just the earth, but all of God's creatures have been given to us, and it is our job, again, to take care of the earth. Now, some of you at Walker Chapel know that we have already rescheduled our Monarch Butterfly Meadow Fest that was to take place this coming week. We are really excited about this Meadow Fest because it will ensure that the butterflies that are on their way as they migrate will have an official resting place, if you will, as we plan to plant lots and lots of milkweed plants. So we're trusting that this fall it will be safe and a good time for us to have the Meadow Fest. So look forward to that. But today, I want to talk to you about one of God's creatures called the orangutan. And I'm really just learning myself about some of God's creatures that are in need of our help, because there are a number of God's creatures that, quite candidly, are in danger. And what is happening to our orangutan is their homes are being torn down, and it's hard for you and I to imagine what it would be like for someone to just come in and tear apart our house, our home where we live with our family. But that's exactly what's happening to our orangutans in the rainforest. So here's the thing, sometimes we don't realize the harm that we're causing. And cartoon, if you will, about a young girl and orangutan who comes and invades, comes without her knowing that this orangutan is going to show up, comes into her room, but shares a really powerful lesson. Let's take a listen and a look.
There's a orangutan in my bedroom and I don't know what to do. She plays with all my teddies and keeps borrowing my shoe. She destroys all of my houseplants and she keeps on shouting, ooh. She throws away my chocolate and she howls at my shampoo. There's a orangutan in my bedroom and I don't want her to stay. So I told the naughty orangutan that she had to go away. Orangutan in my bedroom, just before you go, why were you in my bedroom? I really want to know. There's a human in my forest and I don't know what to do. He destroyed all of our trees for your food and your shampoo. There's a human in my forest and I don't know what to do. He took away my mother and I'm scared he'll take me too. There are humans in my forest and I don't know what to do. They're burning it for palm oil. So I thought I'd stay with you. Orangutan in my bedroom, now I do know what to do. I'll fight to save your home and I'll stop you feeling blue. I'll share your story far and wide so others can fight too. Orangutan in my bedroom, I swear it on the stars. The future's not yet written, but I'll make sure it is ours.
What we talked about is that learning about the harm that we're causing is the first step to figuring out ways that we can make something better. And so what I want to say to you is you and I and others who love and care about our earth will have more conversation about ways that we can help the orangutan as well as others of God's creatures that are being harmed. So we're going to pray mightily today that God will help us see how we can be helpful. And if you're ready, let's have a prayer together today. Dear God, help us to do all that we can in all the loving ways we can to help our Mother Earth and your beloved creatures. In Jesus' name we pray. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. All right, remember, I love you dearly. I'm proud of you, and I can't wait to see you any chance that we have. I love you. And now I would invite us all with our eyes wide open to pray together and feast your eyes upon this beautiful photo prayer that was prepared for us by the United Methodist Church.
Right after I arrived at Walker Chapel this past summer, I began to have conversations with all of the folks because I wanted to get to know them, but I also wanted to know what they really cared about. It was my absolute joy to sit down with our students individually and learn about the kinds of things that they care about in our world. Every one of the students that I talked with talked about their concerns around environmental justice, the reports and the projects that they were involved in school. So from those felt needs, it made sense that we would design a student ministry around the very concerns that the students believed mattered most. It's my joy this morning to introduce our students and their offering to us focused on environmental justice this morning. You can also read their inspiring letter and proposal to the Walker Chapel Church Council of the ways that the chapel can double down on our efforts to move toward environmental sustainability. It's in this week's chapel notes. I hope you will read it, pray over it. I want to, before we begin with the students, to give a special shout out to each one of them for their faithfulness. During this time, they have met every Sunday immediately following our service via Zoom. That's not near as challenging for them as it is for some of us. So I'm especially proud of the conversations that they have had around environmental justice. I want to give a special shout out to Aaron Kilkenny, who has been the one to put this together, and I hope it will be a blessing to you. Let's take a look and a listen.
Hi, I'm Erin Kilkenny, and I'm excited to present our youth group's new environmental initiative. We have put together a list of environmental actions that Walker Chapel can take in order to reduce our waste and carbon footprint. As we celebrate Earth Day, it is important to remember that Earth Day must be every day in order to save our planet and the animals within it, in order to have clean drinking water for future generations, and in order to reduce the harmful effects of natural disasters heightened by climate change. I believe this positive change continues with Walker Chapel and the families within it.
Hello, my name is Audrey Ajay, and I'm most excited about our goal of minimizing food waste in our church and in our households. For example, we can start using compost machines to dispose of food waste after church. I did a research project in school about food waste, and I think it's an important issue for us to cover and spread awareness of.
Hi, I'm Sid O'Shea, and I'm excited about improving the recycling process in our church. One of the ways we are going to be engaged in helping our planet is by putting signs about what to recycle on all of our recycling bins, so that people will know which items are able to be recycled. I hope that this will help with the planet and make it easier to recycle in our church.
For my pitch for the conservation goal in our church is going to be about plastic. When we were in school, I did a project on plastic pollution, talking about how it affected our ecosystems around the world. When we're in church, I suggest that we only use silverware and not plastic utensils. For straws, we should always use biodegradable ones like paper. Also, for our glass bottles and other glass items, I suggest that we have someone take it to a glass recycling bin. There's one at WNO that we can use so we can recycle the glass properly.
For how the church can decrease our output of waste, as well as connect with the environment, is to transition to post-consumer recycled paper products for programs, etc., as well as using the plates and utensils we have on hand instead of using disposable utensils and other dishware, as well as doing our best to turn off lights when we're not using them.
Hi everyone! During this quarantine, my family and I have decided to plant a garden, so now we are able to grow and eat fresh produce. We've also been really conscious about recycling all of our recyclable goods and making sure to separate our glass bottles from our normal recycling. Happy Earth Day!
Awesome, right? We give thanks to God today for the many ways that our children who grow up to lead us in important ways, and and imagine. Let the images fill your mind as we hear these first words, where God says, first this. God created the heavens and earth, all you see, all you don't see. Earth was a soup of nothingness, a bottomless emptiness, an inky blackness. God's spirit brooded like a bird above the water abyss. God spoke light, and light appeared. God saw that light was good and separated light from dark. God named the light day. God named the dark night. It was evening, it was morning, day one. God spoke, sky, in the middle of the waters, separate water from water. God made sky. God separated the water under sky from the water above sky, and there it was. God named sky the heaven. It was evening, it was morning, day two. God spoke, separate water beneath heaven, gather into one place, land appear. And there it was. God named the land earth. God named the pooled water ocean. And God saw that it was good. God spoke, earth, green up, grow all varieties of seed-bearing plants, every sort of fruit-bearing tree. And there it was. Earth produced green seed-bearing plants, all varieties, and fruit-bearing trees of all sorts. God saw that it was good. It was evening, it was morning, day three. God spoke, lights, come out, shine in heaven's sky, separate day from night, mark seasons and days and years. Lights in heaven's sky to give light to earth. And there it was. God made two big lights, the larger to take charge of day, the smaller to be in charge of night. And God made the stars. God placed them in the heavenly sky to light up earth and oversee day and night, to separate light and dark. God saw that it was good. It was evening. It was morning, day four. God spoke, swarm, ocean with fish and all sea life. Birds fly through the sky over earth. God created the huge whales, all the swarm of life in the waters, and every land and species of flying birds. God saw that it was good. God blessed them. Prosper, reproduce, fill ocean, birds, reproduce on earth. It was evening, it was morning, day five. God spoke, earth, generate life, every sort and kind, cattle and reptiles and wild animals, all kinds. And there it was. Wild animals of every kind, cattle of all kinds, every sort of reptile and bug. God saw that it was good. God spoke. Let us make human beings in our image, make them reflecting our nature, so they can be responsible for the fish in the sea, the birds in the air, the cattle, and yes, earth itself, and every animal that moves on the face of the earth. God created human beings. God created them God-like. Reflecting God's nature, God created them male and female. God blessed them. Prosper, reproduce, fill earth. Take charge. Be responsible for fish in the sea and birds in the air, for every living thing that moves on the face of earth. Be responsible. This is the word of God for the people of God. Thanks be to God. And may God teach us the meaning of God's word. Maybe you learned Psalm 24 by heart. The earth is the Lord's and the fullness thereof. Peterson says it like this in the Message: God claims earth and everything in it. God claims world and all who live on it. God built it on ocean foundations and laid it out on river girders. Good news that our God gives us chance after chance to do what is just and good. God gives us the opportunity to confess when there are times in our lives when we have not lived into God's plan. In many ways, you and I know we have failed miserably in caring tenderly, in respecting the sacred nature of God's creatures. We have made assumptions that it is our right to take. We have taken advantage in many, many ways. Last week, we ended our time together with an invitation that this season of life, this life during and after COVID-19, provides us with new chances and new challenges. There's good news that as a result of our COVID-19 and our staying home, many places on our earth are catching a breath, if you will. The air is cleaner and clearer due to less air pollution. Animals and wildlife of every kind are returning and reclaiming Earth space. Cities all around the United States are finding all kinds of elk and goats and sheep in the streets. Sea turtles are finding their way home on beaches. The polluted canals of Venice, Italy, in the absence of boat traffic on the city's famous waterway, are now clear, and fish have returned, along with the majestic dolphins who are again gracing the waterways with their presence. God can use what God would never choose. I would invite us this morning, like never before, to make a new commitment. To make a new commitment of mind and body and spirit that we will examine, ponder carefully, and take action on new ways that we might live more faithfully into God's directive that it is our job to take care of the earth and to tend carefully to every creature. The Native American hymn, "The earth is our mother, and we must take care of her," is one small first step this morning. I invite you to join together in the singing of this Native American song that reminds us the earth is our mother, and we are to take care of her.
The earth is our mother, we must take care of her. The earth is our mother, we must take care of her. Hey, yana ho, yana hey, yana ho, yana hey, yana. Her sacred ground we walk upon, with every step we. Her sacred ground we walk upon, with every step we take. Hey yoni ho, yoni hey yana. Hey yana ho, yana hey yana.
It's been my joy for us to worship together this morning. If you'd like to learn and memorize the Earth is Our Mother song, I would invite you to check out the chapel note where you can see Sandra, our director of spiritual practices, singing and playing on the drum out in the forest. And I would invite you to commit the idea and the action in your mind and your heart to ask, what does it look like to treat the earth as indeed she is our mother and we are to take care of her? I continue to pray mightily for you every day. I trust that you are staying safe and well. There are indeed many of us in our community who are battling all kinds of sickness, and so we continue to pray for strength in our bodies and strength in our minds, and most of all, strength in our spirits. So as you go forth from this place today, go in the knowledge that indeed God has gifted you and me with the gift of life, so that we might live faithfully and beautifully on the earth. God has given us the gift of God's Son Jesus so that we might practice compassion and care, tenderness in every way. And God has given us the gift of God's Spirit so that we might be courageous enough and bold enough to love God and love God's people with all of our heart. From our house to your house, we love you.